This week, the Biden administration announced sanctions on 7 Russian government officials and 14 businesses in response to the poisoning and imprisonment of opposition leader Alexey Navalny. Navalny says the Russian government poisoned him last year. In January, Russian police arrested him on charges of violating probation terms from money laundering charges. He was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. Biden officials say the sanctions are the first of several steps planned in response to, quote, destabilizing actions by the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Sergei Rakuba is president of Mission Eurasia, a ministry serving the church in Russia and other former Soviet republics. As always, Sergei, great to have you back on the broadcast. Navalny told the court he is no longer an atheist and now believes in God, citing Matthew 5:6, which says, "Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness shall be filled." Can you tell us anything more about this?
Sure, George, and thank you so much for the opportunity. While he was at the court, I believe he pronounced or presented the most powerful sermon out of that cage. You know, he was kept in at the courtroom, and he referred to Matthew 5:6, and he said, "Those who hunger and thirst for righteousness should be filled." He said that he's not atheist anymore, and referring to the Bible as an ancient book that the world should adopt and build their rules for living on, for daily living. I think it was the most powerful presentation of the gospel. We started digging. We did not know that Navalny was not an atheist anymore. And when we started digging more, we now see that he, in the process, when he had to go through all the challenges, fighting for his life, he said that he found God. And now communicating with some of the church leaders in the evangelical community, we understand that he was in contact with few and searching for eternal values, as he says. He wants to continue his fight to the end of his life, he says, fighting for the Russian people so that they have a chance to know the truth, to know the righteousness, and so that have a chance to have a better life.
Sergei, you know, when repressive regimes come under pressure, they often target what they believe are Western-influenced institutions like evangelical churches. Is that happening in Russia right now?
Yes, that's unfortunately what's happening. Yes, you know, the Kremlin regime, they're looking for so the reason why the young generation is opposing their authoritarian style of leadership. If anything that is challenged, they're looking for the reason, you know, and they believe that all to blame is Western influence, especially American influence. And so evangelicals fall under that category because the Russian Orthodox Church presents the evangelical movement as a foreign entity in the religious fields in anciently known as Orthodox country of Russia.
Yeah. How can we pray? Final question. How can we pray for the church in Russia today?
George, thank you so much. It's a great opportunity now and the need is enormous, to continue praying for the leaders of the evangelical church, of the evangelical movement, like many of them under lots of pressures now, especially when that Yarovaya law that regulates the issues of the religious freedom, you know, is getting more implemented. We're monitoring the situation and getting information when, as I speak to you as of yesterday, the decision was made in a nearby city of Tula, near to Moscow, city of Tula, for evangelical churches. The decision was made to get confiscated and bulldoze their buildings. And it happens across Russia today. Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, they were put out of law under that regulation of Yarovaya, and many end up in prisons today. And so evangelicals, especially charismatics and Baptists today, getting a lot more under pressure, and they're implementing more and more oppressive regulations, pressing, you know, evangelicals as a foreign entity. So the prayer should be for the leaders that lead the church in a situation like that, and for them to navigate under the pressures and continue leading the church to be the the light of the gospel, light of the truth, and so that the church that is preaching righteousness in the midst of challenges like they are experiencing today in Russia.
All right, terrific. Sergey, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on the broadcast. Always appreciate your insights.
Yeah, it's always a privilege. Thank you.